want to know a little bit about you. You speak about the fact that you grew up in a church environment, where I think your mom and dad, both ministers of the church, and that is sort of how you got into music or gospel music, singing the worship team and so on and so forth and serving. So I'd like to hear you, paint that picture for us in terms of how it was growing up in a household where it was a Christian based household,
Yeah.
where it's all about Jesus and you're singing
Yes.
about Jesus. So, yeah.
All right. Actually, I'm the first of three siblings, and I was born into a Christian family. My parents were pastors even before I was born, and I think they served with the Winners Chapel, David Oyedepo, bishop, and it was quite, a time. And when he left, actually, to start something of his own, when God called him, actually, and we grew up in such an environment, and I think maybe because you find yourself in such space every day. I mean, it's an everyday thing. You go to church, you pray, service, choir practice. So I developed the interest in drums. So I think I started playing drums when I was very young, about 6, 7,
Wow.
thereabout. So, and that took a long time of my life. Then I transitioned into playing the keys. And, gradually I found out that I was having, this passion for music. And I didn't start as gospel, though. you know, growing up, we try the other side of music. And, I
Yeah.
could remember there was this day, and a man of God was, preaching, and he said, I see you, he gave me that big revelation. And he said, but right now you're not doing music for God. You're still doing music. And I was like, okay, wow, yes, we sing in church. We do. I was very young, though. I do the choir, children's praise and worship and all that. And, from there, I realized that, there was a calling of God upon my life, and I needed to, go with the calling, So I started developing myself, practicing more and learning what I needed to do, equipping myself, trying to, yeah, and that's how I found myself here.
Yeah, so you started taking it seriously now.
Yes,
It was no longer just about following mom and dad,
exactly.
but it was about, oh wow, God has given me a gift
Mm, mm.
and I get to use this
Use
gift for
this gift.
God's people.
Yes, yes.
Then you came to Cape Town and tell us about the music experience there and how, you were able to then be in a different country and still continue with your music.
Okay, my musical career has been ongoing even before I came here, and I've been quite few years and trained choirs as well. I was the music director in my church before I left, and I got here. It was a bit different, I had to. It's more like
To
I had to start
adjust.
all over again, and try. I've built, some a kind of level to a kind of level. I had my band, I had musicians, and I had places that I know I could always beckon on. And when I got here, it was quite a task for me, to really understand. And that was when. And I think with that such encounter, my experience and everything also changed my writing, and I started adapting, and getting to, because for me, music is not just, it's beyond just singing words. It's being able to impact people around you as well.
So powerful.
And if you need to impact people, you need to understand them and understand their language as well, and try to get to people the way they would understand you. So I thought, it's a different place for me. I mean, I shouldn't come here and do something I would naturally do. Although it's not, I didn't leave that. I didn't deviate fully, but I needed to, have the people understand how to. I mean, how I can express or interpret God's word to them in a way that they will properly understand. So yeah, it's been a challenging journey. It's been You know, it's not been easy, but
Hmm.
yeah, here we are,
Yeah,
and
here we are. And I
by
think
God's
through it
grace.
all, I think, yeah, definitely God's grace. And I think through it all, you do see the faithfulness of God, and
Yes.
how He's carried you through it out. Obviously, yeah, it's not an easy industry. Gospel music, especially in South Africa, we have our own dynamics here.
Yes.
I'm sure you've already
Exactly.
experienced those dynamics. But it's also it's doable.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
doable. You stay the course if you're consistent.
Mm.
Definitely, it is something that you can thrive in and flourish. So your music style, how has it changed? You said that you had to adjust and you had to adapt and you had to change it a little bit. So how would you define it now, and how has it evolved?
Okay. Basically, I used to be the kind of traditional Afro singer, although I find solace in worship. I'm a worshiper. I connect more when I need to worship, and everyone around me would say, Sammy, just stay focused on worshiping. I mean that's where I connect more
Yeah.
now. And so yeah, just getting to understand the dynamics here. I just had to understand how, people connect as well with music, and it's something that I'm still learning. Not to say I'm 100% there, but by God's grace, I found out that I'm at least able to communicate my my journey and my and God to people, in a way that they would be able to grasp and really really be in the flow of worship as well, and getting to also have music touch their lives as well. Yeah.
You spoke about worship, like that you're more of a worshiper.
Yeah.
What does worship mean to you?
All right, worship for me it's an experience, and it's not just lifting up hands and closing your eyes and crying and slow songs and all that, but it's reverence to God. For me, it's times when I don't even have to be on stage or in the studio. I mean, in my room, and after a moment of prayers, and I just sit there and quietly and just one two songs, and my heart is lifted and I'm connected to Him, and I just have that aura and unction in me that someone is being eulogizing my God, worshiping Him, reverencing Him. It could be with my dialect sometimes, and it could be just
Yes.
praising Him in the words that I best understand. Which yeah. So for me, it's an experience, and being able to put that experience
Yeah.
of God out there for people to really understand how to also connect, with the King of Kings.
So powerful. Now, Sammy, in 2019, you released your first single. Can you please tell us about the process of getting there? Was it overwhelming for you? I mean, this is your first single that we're talking about. You've been doing music, in a way where it wasn't professional, but now, you have to get your ducks in a row. You got to know what you're doing. So, can you tell us about that process?
2019 was a huge process for me because I think I had to bring a lot of people together, and worked with really, really great people in the industry. Um, we actually started the work together with my producer, Shegun Amison. I'm sure he might be listening now, and I just want to also appreciate him. He was there with me from 2016 or 17 thereabout. We started
Wow.
building things up right there in my studio, and it took time, and we were just at that point we just wanted to do a studio thingy and just release them. But
Yeah.
God kept on telling me, I need you to gather people, I need you to bring people together, I want
Sure.
to and I was very scared because it was my first in especially in South Africa, and I was like, God, how do I do this? And do you know, I say to people, I had at that point I didn't even have a cent.
Wow.
on me, and I was like, God, okay, what do we do? So I went ahead and started planning, and before you know it, someone called me. They sent money for the hall. Someone else called me,
Mm.
sent money for the camera guys. I'm like, God, what is
Mm.
going on? And I remember the day I took my crew, my team, I took them to the venue, and everybody was like, wow, when did you start planning? I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So the journey was
Mm.
it was not a easy one, but with
Mm.
God on our side, we
Mm.
had 3 months of rehearsals.
Wow.
3 months, we had like two or thrice a week, leaving rehearsals late at night, and I had fusion of colored people working with me, and
That's so
it was
cool.
so
Mm.
it was a great experience, because I had to learn how to working with people. It's also another journey. You need to learn
Yes.
them, understand how to not you know I know along the line I lost some, maybe out of
Mm.
mismanagement, but by God's grace we still connect and we're still friends today. But they
Mm.
were unable to work on the project, but
Mm.
it's like I said, it was an experience for me, and
Mm.
I believe now I know how to undo things better.
I
Know how to
like that.
communicate with them, and to
Yes.
bring everyone together. And yeah, 2019 we recorded 13 tracks of my album, my first album, and
Mm.
few of the songs are out now on my social media,
Mm.
and few of them played on Trace Gospel and One Gospel,
Mm.
and yeah, that was the beginning of the dropping of the
The
work.
journey,
Yes.
yeah. Wow, wow, impressive. So Sammy, you spoke about how, you got together with different people and
Mm,
people of different cultures as
mm,
well, where, you were doing music. And that brings me to the next important part of our conversation is, the importance of collaboration
yes.
when it comes to gospel
Mm,
musicians.
mm, mm.
What would you say that is?
I would say it's a great journey though. it's a, it's not easy to really
To collaborate.
yeah, it's not, I won't lie, but with few relationships, actually, I
Mm.
think I worked with few, like I was initially supposed to work with four four artists, but I think only three came true,
Mm.
which one was a South African Xhosa lady, and
Mm-hmm.
the other one was a Nigerian,
Mm.
and was he what's his name? I can't remember now. Yeah, and that was, but I'm not sure he's a pastor. He's not so
Mm.
in the scene
Mm.
as back then anymore.
Mm.
So that was, so we couldn't really get all the guys that we really needed, because communication, and the first album, there were so many things that was needed and all that, and we just had to go with the flow.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's always an experience. There's always a starting point. Always a that point where you need to understand how it really works.
Mm.
I think I know better now. At least I
That's
would be able
awesome.
to handle things better.
Some of the lessons that come up, as Sammy, in terms of your journey so far and the process, 2019 process, what would you say are some of, the things that really pop up in your mind that you think, man, looking back, I could have done that differently, or, maybe if I had done this, then things would have been better.
Okay, I think the one thing that I picked in the entire process was my process, my how do I explain this? There's a structure in that I was
Mm.
used to, the
Mm.
structure of how we work.
Yeah.
So, but I got to a different space and realized that production here is a different ball game. There's a different
Mm.
process to it. The structure of work is, if like we recorded 13 tracks, and we still have few of them not dropped yet, because of, I
The
mean,
structure.
the structure. It's a different ball game entirely. And I told my producer, I said, you know what, this we will not make such mistakes again. But yeah, we learn, and I'm
Mm.
actually we're planning on the second recording,
That's
which was
awesome.
supposed to be in November, but we might be
Mm.
pushing forward a little bit. But we working with some I don't want to disclose yet, but we
Ish, you
planning.
must drop some
we
names so
planning.
that we can,
We
follow you.
we planning. We planning on that. So
Mm.
yeah, I just want my people to sit back and expect something big coming soon.
So awesome. Sammie, you know what? What I see is really God's favor upon you. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you stepped out in faith when you spoke earlier about how, there was no finances, but I
Yeah.
think God definitely honored your faithfulness. God saw your heart and what it is that you want to do. So, Sammie, we're gonna come to grateful.
All right.
What was you thinking, at that time? What was God saying to you during the time of writing, I believe, and producing Grateful?
Basically, people would always say my writings or my songs contain more of thanksgiving. So I tell people that there's nothing else I can do but to be thankful. Even
Amen.
through thick and thin, through desperate times. Most times, all I just say is, God, through this, I just say thank you. So most of the times, my experience just pushes me to, the point where I just don't have words but to say thank you. So grateful for me was at a point where I looked around everything and, I just didn't have words but to say, Lord, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And if you really listen to the first part of the
So
lyrics,
awesome.
the first part of the lyrics, that's the first verse, it wasn't really like everything was rosy. It wasn't really like everything was good, but in everything I was just going to say, Lord, I'm grateful. I cannot complain. I can't do anything but to thank you. So that's my inspiration, was just give God thanks through everything, through thick and thin. And that's what bettered grateful.
Exactly. And I think that's, the heart of the believer. That's where we ought to be grateful through it all, the ups and the downs, like you mentioned. What do you look forward to in the next 6 months, a year to come? I don't want to go too far in terms of a 5-year plan. Let's just talk
uh,
about the year plan.
6 months, 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, right now, what I'm really focusing on is the next project, and I don't know if I should say this, but also still thanking God. I want to thank God for, opening up some international doors
It's
gradually.
awesome.
Gradually, it's a process, but I just want to thank Him for the international doors that are opening,
Amen.
and yeah, just looking forward to the next year and how God is intending to work through me. I just want to be a tool used by Him, just to affect my generation. Sometimes I even have to get myself in a very, serious pressure, like, God, use me. I'm still, use me.
Amen. Yeah,
This is
I'm
not, I
here.
need you.
Yeah.
Take all of me. So yeah,
Mm.
I am
So
available to be
awesome.
used there by God. I just want Him to take all of me.
Sure.
Mm.
So good. Sammie, obviously you mentioned earlier, and I think throughout, our chat together conversation, you've been like alluding to the fact that, it's so different in terms of, being in South Africa
Mm.
and obviously back home in Nigeria and the music industry as a whole. So what would you say South African gospel musicians can learn from Nigerian gospel
I don't
musicians
want
and
trouble.
vice versa? We can all learn from one another. I mean,
Uh,
it's a good thing.
yeah,
So,
that,
without saying anything about anyone,
I wouldn't.
just the things that you
That's
learned,
that's a serious one.
and
Okay.
maybe things that you can incorporate
Mm,
in SA,
mm, mm,
that maybe works for
mm.
Nigerian gospel artists and vice versa, things that Nigerian gospel artists can incorporate in Nigeria that you've learned in SA.
Um, First of all, I don't know. This is this is quite tough, but basically, South African music for me is lovely. I love the music, and there's nothing much I would rather say than, we can always just, open our spread our wings or and open ourselves to the international community. And, sometimes, like I said, back home, we've got also indigenous songs, and all that. But, you know, you find out that most of the artists back home that are really stuck on indigenous songs are not able to break through the international community, because only few, by God's grace. And I would only say that I think we should just open it up, let us let us let us keep it open, for other part of the world, to really have a feel of how, understand
Yeah.
what we really trying to, because music is communication at the end of the day. We communicating Christ to the people, and we don't just want to communicate to some sets of people.
Yeah,
Bible
that's
says
so
go
good.
into the world and preach the gospel. So if you must get your word, your stuff out there, it has to be, in a way that people would easily grasp. So that's just basically um, my take, and that's why I try as much as possible. And my first album, I had a Xhosa song, and I had an African song. And I had an African song. I had my
To be
indigenous song. I had
versatile.
English song. Just try to, for those that wants to pick from this, they are able to understand and communicate. And I mean, it's able to communicate to them. So yeah,
Versatility.
basically yes. Yes.
Goes a long way in gospel music. I'm chilling and having conversation with Sammie. To anyone that might be listening right now, and if you want to see who Sammie looks like or what he looks like or who he is, you can go onto our Facebook page, and we have a live video there that is currently running. But for now, though, we are going to go to a song which is one of Sammie Tunde's song called Grateful. If you have any questions for Sammie Tunde, please bring them on 0817291657. That's 0817291657 is the WhatsApp line that you can reach us on here at 729 Cape Pulpit. Sammie, any last words for up and coming gospel artists, people that are trying out, people that are younger than you, that are saying, hey, what are some of the things that I need, in this industry? What would you say are the things that are required if you were to give advice?
Okay, if I was to give it, I'm not such one that is good at advising people, but yeah,
I'm sure you are.
the reason is I don't want to seem like I
You
already
know
have
it
it all figured
all.
out,
No, but so
And
far you've journeyed, you've got stuff to say. Yeah.
yeah, so basically, having to explore the international community, which I just had opportunity to do recently, and I've I mean, I would count the numerous times I've done this. I mean, it's something I always shy away from. I believe, while I was coming up in the music industry, I used to be told about what music business is. Music, if you really want to push through and get to the hearts of men, you have to see it as a business. You have to really embrace it. It's not just a fun fair that you wake up today, you feel like, and tomorrow you don't feel like. It's something you really need to give your all to, and basically with that we find that God is also a God of perfection. He's not someone that doesn't want to see you today, you have that drive, tomorrow you are sleeping. So I'll just have to say that keep pushing, persistence, be persistent in the work, and just seek God in every aspect, every step you take. Seek God, let God be the bedrock, let him be the drive, let him be the ladder that you climb through. And with that, and with all the hard work, personally I think the sky is just the limit.
Yeah. So awesome. Wow. Family, we've been speaking to Sammie. Sammie, your social media handles, how does everyone reach you on social media?
Okay, for my YouTube page, it's Sammie Tunde, Sammie, then space Tunde, and my Instagram is I am underscore Sammie Tunde, one word. So I am underscore Sammie Tunde, and my Facebook is also Sammie Tunde. Yeah, my Twitter, same thing. So it's easy to. It's Sammie Tunde, Sammie, not Y, and space Tunde. And my Instagram is im underscore Sammie Tunde.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Sammie, please introduce your song to us. Grateful.
Grateful. All right, grateful. Yeah.
Bye, Sammie
Bye.
Tunde.
Father, we give you all the praise.